Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're here with the Wicked Racing League here as we always are on our Wednesday nights. And tonight is a special one as we're going to be closing out the Buttkicker Cup Series regular season here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. This famed short track will be the place that decides the 12 drivers who go on to race for a championship in these next few weeks. So it's going to be a fantastic time. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Zach Hall. Joined alongside me tonight, calling all the action, will be Brandon Colley, and we'll have, as always, our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., running the production from the background. But Brandon, we're here at North Wilkesboro, a famous track, and what a way to close out the regular season, as it could be all about winning tonight to get yourself in.
Absolutely, Zach. I could not think of really a better place to end your regular season here to set up for the run into the playoffs. And talked about it might come down to winning here. There's a few drivers that are on the cut line, just outside the cut line, that no mathematical way that they're going to point their way in. They're going to have to win to get in. And the one that comes to mind for me is Dallas Manis. Put in some really good times in practice here. I'm going to be seeing what Dallas can do during the race and maybe snag that win and get in on a last-ditch effort.
We got some strong names there that are looking to get themselves in position to move on to those playoffs. So far, we have Alex Coffey locked in. He's the leader. Cedric Hunter in second. Third is going to be Gavin Rogers. Fourth is Cody Reed. Fifth, Stephen Borbell. Sixth is Mason Hossman. Jimmy Kubinek in seventh. And eighth is Johnny Shade. As those are 8 different winners that have locked themselves into the first round of the playoffs. Then in on points, we have Steven Stippian, Adam Buzzio, Blaine Wilson, and Dakota Camper. And it's a pretty sizable gap when it comes to points here. Also, Brandon, 31 points that Carl Pooler in the 13th position is going to need to make up on Dakota Camper. And with the 2 stages available, Camper can really pad that situation if he has a good night like he did last week at Richmond.
Oh, 100%. Looking at it and crunching some numbers here, really all Dakota has to do to guarantee that he points his way in, assuming nobody on the outside wins a race, he needs to accumulate 10 points more than Carl Pooler between the 2 stages here, and he is good to go. Then he's just got to hope that somebody like Dallas Manis or Alexander Light, Shaw, or Pooler himself, they don't win the race. Because if they win, that's 100% knocking him out regardless of what he does in terms of points for the stage.
Now, another interesting factor also is Christian DeRoches. He's 21st in points. He's 2 points behind Chad Bean. If he can go out and win tonight, that'll push him into the top 20. That would give him a chance to lock himself in. So we have drivers pretty much from 20 or really even 22nd, I would say, for Ryan Harrison of chances to get in. So Ryan Harrison, 22nd in points. 21st is Christian DeRoches. 20th is Chad Bean. 19th is Michael Giamatti. 18th is going to be Dallas Manis. 17th, TJ Roberts. 16th, Alexander Light. 15th, Nigel Christensen. 14th, Gregory Shaw. And 13th, the closest driver, like we said, by 31 points out of that cut line is Carl Pooler. So we'll see which of that group could possibly have a strong night here at North Wilkesboro, where, things are up in the air when it comes to how it could play out. I really think this track could surprise us if we get some late cautions and some wild restarts at the end.
And it 100% can, Zach. These guys are going to be struggling throughout the duration of this race. I mean, you really need to pay attention to your tire wear, the track temp. If you've got a way to figure out what the track temp is at a moment's notice, just a few swings in degrees up or down here makes a huge difference in the feel of the car and the wear of the tires. And you've got to be patient, too, with this track, because the tires don't wear so much in terms of rubber percentage. It's all about the temperature in that tire, and if you're patient with the car, and you make sure you're not overdriving it, it is going to come back to you the longer the runs go on. But if we get those late race cautions, these guys are going to be pushing for all it's worth, and that's where you're going to see the mayhem and calamity.
Calamity sits around every single one of these historic corners. The 1987 version of the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Man, what a great time to have this back, as NASCAR is just about to go back to North Wilkesboro for their own all-star race here. So it'll be cool to see how that represents compared to here at North Wilkesboro that we have on iRacing, which of course is the 1987 version. And as the timer runs out for qualifying, we're going to get our starting grid up here, folks, for the 200 lap race we have here tonight for North Wilkesboro. It's going to be a spectacular time, and you're not going to miss out here as we close out this fantastic regular season we've had here at the Wicked Racing League. So we'll see where your favorite drivers are starting, and you can see now Alex Coffey, the fastest man in qualifying. They're able to take the top spot after winning last week at Richmond. Second place goes to Gavin Rogers in the 77, who was snake bitten by internet issues last week. We'll see if he can come back here charging at North Wilkesboro. Third is going to be Cody Reed. Fourth is going to go to Steven Stippian. Fifth is going to be Adam Buzzio. Sixth is Dakota Camper. Seventh is going to be Jimmy Kubinek. Eighth is going to be Stephen Borbell. Ninth is the 6-car Alexander Light. And rounding out the top 10, it's Carl Pooler.
Dallas Mann is rolling off 11th in the 45. Michael Giamini in 12th. Richard Bolsifer 13th. Gregory Shaw 14th. Johnny Shade 15th. Steve T. Cole 16th. Christian DeRoche in 17th. Brian Harrison in 18th. Blaine Wilson 19th. And Jamie Plord rounding out the field in 20th.
20 cars ready to take on the North Wilkesboro Speedway for 200 laps. Stage 1 we have at the completion of lap 60. Stage 2 at the completion of lap 120. So we'll have 60 laps here in both of those stages for these drivers to battle out, get all the points they possibly can, because that will be the critical thing that pushes you through later tonight after the race finishes into those playoffs. So Brandon, what do you think the opening keys are here? Because right now we got some fast drivers lined up on the grid and they're about to do action.
Well, kind of like I said before, Zach, just don't overdrive the corners. You take care of your equipment, especially that right front tire here. You're gonna have to show a lot of patience with the car, but also patience with your competitors, because there's gonna be a bit of contact here. That's just kind of the nature of short track racing, and especially at North Wilkesboro. These cars are really tight here. There's not an awful lot of grip. These guys are gonna end up banging into each other, and I'm sure we're gonna see some really hot tempers flaring by the time this race is over, with guys getting collected in incidents they felt could have been avoidable.
Tempers could definitely flare, my friend. It could be one of those nights where the drama kicks in because of what is all on the line. 12 positions to go fight for a championship. 8 of them are already locked up. The final 4 of those drivers looking to make themselves content after we get the green flag here tonight and that checker flag to end it all, of course. So we got a wonderful night of racing here under Freaky Fast broadcast, not under the lights like I was going to say. That would have been interesting because we got a daytime race here. But, tonight on Freaky Fast, I think this action's going to be fantastic, Brandon. I mean, personally, right here to start it off, no mistakes early, because if you make that mistake early, you're going to put yourself out of chance to get those critical stage points that could be very useful.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that can stand to maybe give up a little bit on some strategy and throw away some stage points, but a lot of those guys near the cutoff, you need them. And you're not going to want to do anything that's going to risk that potentially and maybe get yourself spun out and have to try to drive from the back to the front. It's not impossible to go from the back to the front, but when you are needing points, you don't want to put yourself up against the wall like that, where you have to make up positions and push harder. That could very potentially result in you making another mistake that puts you even farther back, or could possibly end your night altogether.
Talking about losing positions here, is we got a delayed yellow here to extend this caution by 1 lap, because I think they were getting some penalties in from last week at Richmond, as Dakota Camper and Gregory Shaw were both given the EOL here to start at the end of the longest line, and that's huge for Camper. We talked about him trying to get those points in the first 2 stages to make his chance much easier to point himself in. Now going to start from the rear of the field, but we're going to see how it all kicks off here tonight at North Wilkesboro for 200 laps around this historic little circuit here. As the pace car is in, there it is, green flag is in the air, and we're off and away as Alex Coffey and Gavin Rogers battle down into turn 1.
Yeah, 777s here between the 77 and the 7. Dead heat on the first lap. Slight edge to Rogers, but looks like Coffey going to sail it in on the inside of turn 3, make that pass pretty solidly here to lead lap 1.
Great job to drive it into 3 to clear the 77 machine. Was Alex Coffey our winner from last week at Richmond, who looked very, very strong there. So should see that continue over here tonight, as both these drivers up front are locked in. But the driver moving into 3rd is not locked in. He's the highest driver of the points positions that are not. It's Steven Stippian, and he's got a good shot of making it through to the next round, especially with the points gap he has. But he's got a battle behind him, Cody Reed and Stephen Borbell.
And you're going to see quite a bit of this tonight. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get a pass done. We've got an early yellow.
Early yellow here as the caution flag is on the speedway, and it's for the 56 or Richard Wolsifer. He has had a tough time, it seems like, here getting off the exit of turn 2, and has brought out our first yellow, and that's a tough sight to see because the 56, it just seems like if he's not caught up in an early race wreck, it seems like he has some type of computer or technical issue, but luckily no technical issues because I know how tough those can be for drivers. But Richard Wolsifer here with a simple mistake off of 2, and that is he's not in a bad position because he did get required damage there, Kylie. But the 2 drivers that did were Johnny Shade and Ryan Harrison. You got to feel for them as they were just caught up in that incident.
Well, unfortunate for those guys, but I mean, you look at somebody like Johnny Shade. Yeah, he'd like to get some more points and kind of, pad where he's at and the points going into the playoffs tonight. But he's already guaranteed in with that win, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But I saw guys getting into that as well, like Dakota Camper. He came into that a little bit late. Doesn't look like any damage. Might have gotten away pretty lucky in the 43 here. An early scare for somebody who's really trying to hold on. And, I mean, you're seeing it here on the screen with Wolsifer. Just a little bit low on the exit, trying to get the power down. And especially this early in the race, the tires are still relatively cold. You see him just step out, and then it's just going to snap over correct here, and not much you can do with the fine line that these next-gen race cars are on.
I think you described it perfectly. Fine line. When he started stepping out sideways, he corrected back to the right. When those front tires gripped up, he shot back into that wall, and you can see some of the hits that came there later in that wreck. There's Ryan Harrison, one of those drivers in the 13 there on the bottom of the racetrack rolling through. He had required damage along with Johnny Shade in the 47. So those two both having to use their one fast repair that you have here at the Wicked Racing League, and that's not a time you want to use it here, Brandon, in the first opening 5 laps.
Oh, absolutely not. You feel like if you were having to use your fast repair this early in the race, you are having to be so passive and defensive the entirety of the race. It's hard to make moves and put yourself in a position to maybe gain some more points if you're Johnny Shade, or try to push up here and get a win. Like if you are Ryan Harrison, who was on the outside looking in and really needs to try to come up here and figure something out to snag that win to get himself into the playoffs.
You're exactly right. That's not how he needed his night to start off, but luckily did have that fast repair like they have here at Wicked Racing League 1 every night to allow these drivers, if they do have a hiccup like that, to come back from it. So luckily he got that car completely fixed up and is back going, as we should get double file here and line back up. And my question is, do we see Alex Coffey take the outside or the inside lane? We had to take that green flag from the drop of the green flag last time instead of controlling this restart. Looks like he'll continue to hold the bottom here, Brandon.
Well, not overly a bad move. If you're sure you're going to be able to get a good jump on the restart and be able to clear, I think the bottom is 100% where you need to go, Zach.
Where and how long will this bottom line work for him? Restarts Winwell driver time it up top. We'll have to see. Pace car comes back down the pit road, and the green flag comes out almost immediately. Alex Coffey wastes no time diving back up to that outside lane, covering off that second place car, Gavin Rogers. But it looks like Steven Stippy, he'll clear for third. Then Cody Reed, Stephen Borbell, your top 5.
Well, and Adam Buzzio making that pass on Borbell. He's electing to hold that outside line. And from previous experience here, it's difficult to make the passes on the inside lane, especially early on in the run. You can rip around the top pretty well and get that momentum off the corners here to make some passes. And everybody's single filing out here towards the front half of the pack.
Diving it in there. You can see the 5 machine of Adam Buzzio there, trying to make something happen on this 25 here early. Buzzio was so quick at Richmond. Unfortunately, got tangled up with him, Dakota Camper, coming down to the end. I think we could see that 5 machine once again here, Brandon, right in the mix.
Well, I talked about it last week, that how similar these tracks were, shaped differently, but a lot of the feel and the techniques that you would use at Richmond translate here pretty well at Wilksboro, and you're seeing it with Gavin Rogers and Alex Coffey up front. And then, of course, Adam Buzzio right up here putting in good times. I was in a practice session with these guys earlier this week, and Gavin Rogers and Adam Buzzio were the 2 fastest guys. So it's no surprise to see them up here inside the top 5 this early in this race.
Early in the race, definitely trying to make movement happen. It's the 71 to Carl Pooler here. Little lock up there from that front left tire going into 3, a little hot for him. And He needs a big night. He was 31 points behind that cut line there with Dakota Camper, and he needs to go up here and get good stage points right now in that 7th position to acquire some of those valuable points.
Well, he was doing a good job of it last week at Richmond. He's doing a good job of it here tonight at Wilkesboro. In a good position to get a handful of points here. Would, of course, like to get more. Got to be patient with the car. You cannot afford to do a bunch of those lockups and hurt the tires. He's hoping some of these guys in front of him are going to start to battle and burn their stuff up. He can maybe snag a bit more before we get down to the end of stage 1.
Behind him, though, the battle is on. The 6th machine, Alexander Light here, trying to take that 8th position from Michael G. Amity and gets it done, but Amity fights back here down the front straightaway and keeps it on the outside of the 6th machine. And right here, Brandon, I'm looking at it like this. 1 and 2, I think it's preferred to make that pass up on the upper groove. But in 3 and 4, in my opinion, I think that inside groove can work very well for making passes better.
Well, you saw, I mean, right there, Alexander Light, no problem making the pass on the inside of 3 and 4. There just seems to be that little bit more grip right along that curve on the inside of 3 and 4. And now you see Mitty back to the high side in 3 and 4. Looks like he's going to get passed again. He's able to hold on to the quarter there, but again, not quite enough momentum. But outside of 1 and 2, like you said, just a little bit more grip. You're able to kind of hold your own just a little bit better.
You really can. And Gregory Shaw with a great pass, just like his teammate Alexander Light, that moved them both up to 8th and 9th. And the driver looking to follow him through is Dallas Manson to 45. Look at that great move from him. He needs a big night and a win to move himself into that top 12 in points. And you have Jimmy Kubanek, a winner from earlier in this season, right now in the 12th position. He's got Dakota Camper in the 43 here, Brandon. That's the driver that got the EOL to start this race from a penalty. And right now, he's trying to move himself forward and try to get some stage points, possibly at lap 60.
Now he's doing a great job of it, just outside of the top 10, but we've still got plenty of laps to go here before the end of the stage. He's got plenty of time to work with, and it's no surprise that he's making these passes this early. Like I said, he had a really good pace in practice here, and what's working not necessarily to his benefit. Everybody in front of him is pretty much single file. He's going to hope some of these guys get side by side, because when you're side by side here, you get slowed up a ton, and it really allows the guys behind you to start catching up.
Allows everybody to get that much faster. And right here, we're looking at our top 6. It's the 2 of Stephen Borbell closing in here into the 5 of Adam Buzzio, as they got that 25 still a read right in front of Buzzio. And these guys are about 2 seconds back from our leader, Alex Coffey. So right now, our front group has stayed pretty grouped up together for the opening 23 laps.
And looking at the time, Zach, the front 3 running about the same pace. The second 3 running a little bit slower, but also almost mirroring each other in terms of lap times. So it's kind of a 2-pack breakaway here between these 6 and then the rest of the field. But the rest of the field is starting to come to life here as Borbell seems to be fading just a little bit.
It does seem to be fading just a teeny bit for sure as he's dropping back. But right now, the driver that's kind of surging forward, it's this 81 Steven Stippen. He would love to get a win here in the regular season to close it out because he's been close so many times. And even behind him, you got Cody Reed and Adam Buzzio. They're battling for a top 5 position now as Buzzio's been able to get back to the inside. But it looks like Reed just fighting hard on that top groove.
Again, the outside prevails in 1 and 2. It's just the way that you have to approach the bottom line in 1 and 2, I think, that makes it subpar for trying to make a pass. You almost have to diamond the corner just a little bit, where if you run right here where they're running now, left side's on that hash line, you can afford to cut down just a little bit, but you get such a better run out of the corner. You don't have to check up as much as if you're on the inside.
Let's see here, Buzzio still trying to make this maneuver happen. I think, like we were saying, Brandon, he's going to need to get in a much better position entering for 3. He's going to look to the inside here off of 2. But you can see that outside groove, just the momentum and launch you get with that straight exit you have. But look, Reed up the racetrack, and this is going to open up the door here for the 5 machine to look to the inside. But just enough run off there for that 20 that he's able to make it work.
Well, and Buzzio didn't go all the way to the bottom this time, trying to shadow the 25 of Reed and see if he can generate just a little bit of something. We'll see if Reed manages to get to the bottom. This time he does. Buzzio elected to run just a little bit higher, and you can do that. You don't have to be right up against the curb. There is a slight lane that you can run that helps you avoid some of those bumps down at the curb in 3 and 4, because it is a bumpy corner right there on that bottom line. He's just searching for that little bit of something. to help him get by this 25.
Tons of character in this racetrack with all the bumps around its surface. It makes it such a fun one to run. And right now, Alex Coffey in the opening 30 laps, he has been on fire here, holding the lead for the whole time after starting on pole, as Rogers has been just as quick. They've been running similar lap times, but it seems like it's just never been close enough to make something happen. As behind him, Steven Stippy, and he almost goes for a wild ride there off of 3 or 4.
Good job from Stimpy, and to not goose that thing and end up overcorrecting back into the fence like we saw from the 56 earlier. And really smooth down on the bottom. You can see, you watch the rear ends of these cars, you can see them bumping all over the place, just going through there. It's back here, Adam Buzzio and Cody Reed going at it yet again.
Yet again they are, Brandon. This 5 machine has been working over this 25 and just hasn't been able to get it done. I think this could be his best opportunity, almost dead even entering 3. Reed well up the racetrack here. That's going to allow the 5 machine to have a clear exit off of 4, and just like that, pass done for Adam Buzzio up to the top 4 for the 5 machine as the 25 tries to fight back to the outside, but too much drive through the center from Adam Buzzio.
And you could see it firsthand there watching Cody Reed really open up the corner. He tried to get it cut back down to almost do a crossover on the exit, but there's so little grip, the car just will not turn back down towards the bottom of the racetrack. And unfortunately, he just gave up a free pass, and now Buzzio going to see what he can put together here to chase down these front 3.
About 3 seconds is the gap back to that 5 machine. As you can see here, look at this battle. Kubanek here lighting it up here with the 43 of Camper right behind him. The 55 of Mitty continuing to get stuck on that high side as the drivers to his inside just keep on coming through.
And if you're a mini here on the outside, you are just trying to be as smooth and consistent as possible, getting freight trained on the inside, and just hope that they make a mistake, maybe a little lock up. They have to lift because they get a little bit tight, but so far nobody's made that mistake.
No mistakes from around these guys, but everybody trying to make the most out of what they have here. As you can see right there, I believe it says the 45 on car, but I believe that is Blaine Wilson in the 18. So unfortunately, we've got the wrong paint scheme, I believe, on this week, but we will be able to work with that there. As you can see right now, Camper trying to work over that 8 machine and get to his outside here, make something happen, because Alexander Light right ahead of him in the 6. That pink car there is this car that is the last car for stage points. Dakota Camper could use these, especially with Carl Pooler getting in the 7th position right now.
And this is not going to be an easy pass if Campers are able to get by Kubanek, but Kubanek is going to make it a little bit easier here. Had he been able to get by Kubanek before he could get Kubanek could get by Light, Light's going to make it difficult for Camper to get by, knowing what the battle that his teammate is in with him in points. But look, just like that, Camper cuts to the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Great save from the 43.
Really great save as deep into turn 1, Brandon. That was almost just a right to the rear end collision there for the 43 to the back of the 6, and that could have been a big wreck, as now you got the 18 of Wilson there all over the back deck lid of the 43. Camper here needing to go forward, but right now being held up by the 6 machine and now getting hounded by the 18.
Well, remember what I said about being hot. That looked like a little bit of a swipe. Benefit of the doubt, maybe got in just a little bit hot there, but maybe also didn't appreciate that contact and trying to surge forward here.
Trying to surge forward, looking to the inside now. The 6 machine, Alexander Light, the 43 of Camper, being relentless on his approach here to try to move himself forward. Right now, continuing to be to the inside line of the 6 machine, who looks like he may get stuck up top. And right now, Blaine Wilson's going to try to follow that 43 through.
Just barely getting ahead of him here. Now you see Wilson trying to make it work. That late apex, door to door coming out of the corner, almost some more contact with them. Now Camper's saying, you guys stay side by side. Let me get a gap here and try to hold on to any bit of position. I got to run these guys down in front of me, but this battle behind him, I don't know if it's over just yet.
It very well might not be, as this 18's got by the 6, but the 55, I think he's looking to get by the 6 also. So this group's still battling it up and really producing some great racing for this mid-pack and right into the stage. But I will say it's going to have to be all about Camper trying to get up to Jimmy Kubanek in the 8 machine. I mean, if he can get that 43 in position up to the 8, it would be a great job for him to move himself into those stage points. But right now, Kubanek Or sorry, yeah, Kubinek's trying to make the pass on Gregory Shaw. This is going to hold him up and allow Camper there. You see closing in.
Yep, just a little bit of contact, had them both checked up out of turn 4 last time, and allowed Camper to close in that gap. He just seems a little bit faster here, and he's hoping these guys get side by side. There was a good shot of being side by side last time around, but getting spread out now. But still, that gap keeps closing in. He is stalking them right now.
Stalking him indeed, Brandon. He's starting to close that gap and really make that 8 machine think about how he's going to get around the 51, because this is all about stage points right here for all these drivers. Gregory Shaw, he's on the outside looking in for points, and he needs these stage points also to help his chances, but it's going to be tough, especially if Camper can get those points in the 43 machine as they go through 3 and 4. They're closing in on lap 60, Brandon. It'll be here in a blink of an eye.
Oh, before you know it, these guys are turning 19 and some change for lap time, so these next 12 laps or so are going to click off in a hurry here. Camper, he is running out of time.
Running out of time for the 43 machine indeed, and he's also running out of real estate behind him. The 18 of Blaine Wilson, he's putting a charge on here forward, and that could shake things up very well, because Wilson right now, the fastest car all the way up to our top 2 positions is the 18 right now. That could be his chance to shake all of this into a different position. But you see Camper opening up the corner. I don't know if he missed it there a little bit, but it looks like he's trying to open up that exit to carry speed, and got a decent run here to close down the 8 just that little bit more.
A good job not overshooting the corner into 1 with that extra bit of speed. It's really easy to do. He just caught these 2 in front of him. He hasn't really been able to do anything. Kind of stalled out directly behind them, about a car length. And unfortunately, just got to figure out something here. But just ahead of him, Carl Pooler's kind of fallen off the pace a little bit. These 4 now have started to reel in the 71, and that's not good news if you are Carl Pooler.
Yeah, Carl Pooler right now looking very, very weak when it comes to his drive through the center of the corner. It seems like that car is just not turning for the 71, and he's losing ground to everyone behind him. Luckily for his case, Gregory Shaw's a little bit slower behind him. That's kind of holding that group up in that line there. That's helping Carl Pooler out. But right now, Carl Pooler needs all the help he can get when it comes to points. And right now, Kubinek, he almost gets too much there on the 51, and the 51 holds on to it. But great racing we're seeing here with these drivers getting aggressive for those final few points or positions in the stage points. And here, look, here comes the 45, which is the 18 of Blaine Wilson. He's diving to the inside of the 43 of Camper here.
Gregory Shaw getting turned off the nose of Kubinek there, manages to collect it. These guys are racing hard. There was a little bit of contact a lap or so earlier. Now you can see Kubinek come up and give a little shot in the shorts in the 51, but that opens up the door for Camper.
Wow, what a move from Camper. That puts him into a stage point position. 1 valuable stage point here. And if he can get 1 more, he only gives up a total of 1 point to Carl Pooler, who's directly ahead of this group. And I think Camper's got the speed here to make it happen to Gregory Shaw, who's struggling right now for those tires.
He's still got a handful of laps here to work over that 51. Looks like the center speed just not quite there for Gregory Shaw, but he's kind of checking up Camper as well when he gets slowed down center, and it allows him to get a better exit. Camper trying a slightly different line here, but comes out almost dead even in terms of exit speed with the 51.
Amazing racing going on back here for that 9th and 10th position. And I will say also our leaders, Alex Coffey and Gavin Rogers, they're grouped up together because guess what? They're going through lap traffic here, folks. As you can see right now, that 77, he's trying to work his way past Christian DeRoche's the lap car there to catch back up to the 7 machine, because next time by, it'll be 2 to go here in stage 1.
This is something that's going to, I'm pretty sure, play a factor into this race later on for the final stage towards the checkered flag. These guys are going to have to deal with a lot of lap traffic.
Lap traffic indeed, Brandon. You can see it right now. It's really heating things up as the 77 has gotten past the 57. But that 7 machine is not in clear track, and they got the 56, the 6 right ahead of Alex Coffey. And coming off of 4, they're going to see 1 lap to go here in stage number 1 here for the Wicked Racing League here at North Wilkesboro. And right now, Alex Coffey looking to win himself another stage as he's going to look to the outside here, Alexander Light. Light's looking to defend this, but he's going to cover off the bottom, and that was almost contact between the 6 and the 7. And right here, off of 4, the 7 machine, Alex Coffey is going to win stage number 1, but Alexander Light crucially fights back to the lead lap. And that was a battle that you don't normally see between a lap car and a lead car, but that was so crucial for Alexander Light. Instead of getting the lucky dog and starting at the tail end of the field, he'll be able to start at his actual starting position.
Well, it was lucky enough for him that didn't cause an issue with the leader, but he fought valiantly and was able to hold on at the crucial moment there to stay on the lead lap.
And with the end of that stage there, Alex Coffey wins it there. 10 bonus points to him. Gavin Rogers there in second. It's going to be Steven Stippy in third, Adam Buzzio fourth, Cody Reed fifth. 6 is going to go to Stephen Borbell. 7th, Dallas Mandis. 8th, Carl Pooler. 9th, Gregory Shaw. And Dakota Camper getting that last and final bonus point there in the 10th position. And that was a great scene for Dakota Camper because he only lost 2 points there over that course of that stage there to that number 71 machine.
Well, and really he needed to get those 10 points accumulated between both stages to guarantee mathematically that he could not get knocked out without somebody on the outside winning. But where he's running right now, he doesn't have to worry about it. If he stays 1 or 2 positions behind Carl Pooler and Gregory Shaw, they can't beat him.
You're exactly right. It just would be too much to make up, especially with the size of the field. There's just not enough there for him to make it up. But the driver that did have an excellent first stage here, the winner of stage number 1 is Alex Coffey, and we're going to bring him up here in the booth and have a chat with him about his first win for a stage 1 victory here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Hey, Alex, it's Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, man, an excellent job after the win from last week at Richmond. You're starting off North Wilkesboro in the right way. How's it feel out there so far?
I guess tired after a little while, but feels pretty good. It's pretty stable to me. Just hoping when we catch these lap cars, we can find some way around them. It's kind of hard to pass here, especially when other guys are racing too wide, which, you know, it's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of confusing when you get to them.
Well, Alex, you answered the question I was going to have for you about the lap cars. So the one I got to ask now is, you spent so much at the front here. Do you feel like there's anything that you figured out that maybe you need to adjust on compared to that first run that's going to help you be even faster for the rest of this race?
Oh, yeah, we'll switch up a little bit of stuff, probably on the driving side of things. Just now checking my tires. Weren't too bad off, but yeah, we'll switch up a little bit how I'm driving it.
Well, Alex, I tell you what, man, you've been doing a great job so far. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that was our stage 1 winner from CNC Esports, Alex Coffey in the 7 machine. And they should be getting double filed back up here in just the next few moments to get ready to go back green flag racing. That first stage went by very quickly there, Brandon. That shows you this race, you got to make stuff happen quickly, and when it's tough to pass like he was talking about, you got to do what you can. But we're getting ready for that green flag to start off stage number 2. Points are available to all these drivers, and it's the final regular season race. Who's going to make the top 12 in points? The stages could be the critical moments for it. And back to green we go. Alex Coffey shot out of a cannon.
Absolutely wasted no time to get that clean air, not be side by side going into turn 1. And first 3 single filed out, but yet again we're seeing Cody Reed, Adam Buzzio side by side battling for this 4th position.
Battling is indeed the word for it, and right here off of turn number 4, it's a stack up. You got Dakota Camper there in the 43. We got the final stage point there in 10th, and the Ada Kubanek there on the bottom side. These drivers all battling. Here's the 43 into the wall. That's going to stack things up. He's going to lose a ton of spots here and drop way back as the 56 of Richard Wolsifer. He's trying to hold on to it, but it's contact between him and his teammate Alexander Light, and the caution will fly on the speedway as he's into the pit wall.
That was a hard lick for Alexander Light, and he immediately takes a toe on that one.
Would not be surprised to see a required damage flag, and yes, required damage for Alexander Light and also Dakota Camper. We saw the incident with Dakota Camper down the back straightaway. Here's we get the instant replay queued up for what exactly happened after the fact. But Camper hit the wall coming off of 2. That broke his toe link. That's why that 43 did not turn when he made the corner. But it was the action behind that really led to the detrimental stuff that really played out, because Alexander Light had to take a toe in the 6 machine as he got direct contact to that right rear tire. As you're going to see here, here's Alexander Light's point of view, Brandon. And I think you're going to see, look at the 56 just step sideways, and the 6 is really going to have nowhere to go.
Yeah, it looked like Wolsifer just tried to check up, seeing the calamity in front of him with Camper up in the fence, and Light tried to duck down low, but then you see Wolsifer just start to drift back down the track, and then unfortunately going to get clipped in the left rear. Really nobody's fault back there for that incident, just trying to avoid what was going on up ahead, and then wham, right into the pit wall with that right rear tire. Immediately broken toe link there, and that is unfortunate timing for the 6.
Wow, that was a major hit, and it was 100% directly into that right rear hub of that tire, and we saw it break. I mean, immediately it was broken, and with that, he pulled the car behind the wall. He's called it a night in the 6 team, and that you got to feel for him, man, because that was just caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you got to make those decisions split second, and that was what took the 6 out of contention here.
Well, and luckily for Dakota Camper, they have that fast repair he's elected to take, and I tell you, Zach, when I saw him get in the wall, I was looking at it. He had a little bit more right front damage than you'd usually see with these next-gen tanks, just from scuffing the fence, and with it being wrinkled like that, I was afraid maybe he had the broken toe link, and luckily he got a big break with that caution coming out. Otherwise, he was going to go multiple laps down.
Huge break for sure, because like you said, multiple laps down if you pit here under green. And also another thing for him, though, is he's had to use his fast repair. That is not what he wants to see, and because if he gets now in a bad position where he gets taken out here, you know, if he gets taken out before the end of stage 2 and doesn't get stage points and Carl Pooler does, that gives Carl Pooler a much better chance here to try to make up that gap in points. But he's going to need a heroic effort from the 71 because of how big that gap is.
Yeah, he's going to need a little bit of luck on his side, that maybe something drastic happens with the 43 like just happened here, and he's going to have to get up on the wheel and make some of those points up the old-fashioned way and just pass some of these guys for the end of stage 2 to get as many points as possible. But Dakota Camper, we saw, he's going to be able to get back up here like he did at the beginning of the race and fight for more points here in stage 2.
He will have that shot here as they're double file back up. We're going to go back green flag racing here. Lap 74 of 200 here at North Wilkesboro in stage number 2, and it ends at lap 120. Pace car pulls off, and we're back to green flag racing as that thing comes out immediately. And the 7 again with a great restart, able to clear that 77.
Yeah, it seems like all these restarts are about the exact same, but a little mistake out of Stimpy in there. It's going to open the door for Buzzio on the outside in the 5 here to battle him for 5th place, but oh, looks like Buzzio just missed the corner a little bit in the front 5, single file.
So easy to overdrive that outside groove there in 3 and 4, and that's just what happened to the 5 machine. Is the 45, or sorry, the 18 of Blaine Wilson goes around, and that wreck right there going to bring out another caution here as this second stage is starting to fill up with a few incidents out there. As that'll be our 3rd caution of the night for an incident as Blaine Wilson goes around in turn 1.
Well, Zach, it confused me as well, but I think that's the actual 45 of Dallas Manis.
Is that? Oh, is that? See, that is a little bit of a confusion one for me. Is the 45 there, and I believe the 18 is also in a 45 car. So, tough to tell the difference there. But it's the 45 of Dallas Manis, like Reddit says, goes around. So, you know, it's interesting to see this incident because I think this is a common thing that happens here in Norfolk, where you're getting a little hot on that bottom lane with maybe a little bit too much rear brake bias cranked into it, especially at that long run. You're probably going to crank some brake bias to the rear. I think that might have been a little bit of the brakes too far rearward for that 45 to get slowed down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a mix of the cold tires, just that driver error of not readjusting your brake bias, getting down here. Also the flat where pit exit is, and it just sent him around, and he got extremely fortunate that everybody managed to make sure to check up just a little bit, swing a little bit wide, no contact. And he got his mulligan.
Mulligan indeed. That could have been a huge moment for sure for the 45, who needs to come out here and get the win if he wants to move himself on to the playoffs. And we'll see him bring it down the, or sorry, this is the 45 of Blaine Wilson. So definitely interesting to see there for sure. I'm actually here more now it's not. So I'm confused which two 45s are out there, but you know, this is Dallas on pit road.
That it messed with me when we were watching the battle with Camper trying to get up to 10th place. I looked just ahead of him, saw Manis in the 45, and I was like, how did Wilson get up there? So they've got the exact same paint scheme. So this is going to be a struggle for us, I think, for the rest of this race.
Now I don't feel as bad. Noticing they have the same paint scheme, I was convinced it was Blaine Wilson. I was for sure. I was like, I'd seen the green in the 45 like that before, and I was pretty spot on with that. And then my producer was like, no, you're wrong. So yeah, I don't feel as bad now knowing that they are in the same exact paint scheme, not only the same number.
Well, if I remember seeing right, I believe that's a Cale Yarborough throwback, and they figured, I guess it was so nice they're going to show it twice, so we get a double feature here of the 45 throwback machine.
That we do, Brandon. Sorry for any confusion out there. I know I was trying my best to follow along there, but they threw us the reversal card there for that one, so that is definitely something we'll have to make sure we get right here throughout the rest of the races. It's confusing, but double file back up here, Brandon, and we'll see if we can get this one back green. As they had that long green run in the first stage, I think it's still very possible we see it happen here, but we've had a few mistakes that have brought us to this yellow here in this halt. But right now, it's going to be the pace car here, taking the hard left-hand turn down the pit road, and we've seen Alex Coffey be on it every time, and there it is, green flag back in the way, and the 25 of Cody Reed wrecks down the racetrack on the green flag, and we're going to stay green with that, and luckily for his sake, no broken toe links.
No broken toe links, but a lot of lost track position as they're starting to battle up here. It's picking up. These guys, the sense of urgency is there. They were very timid and really cautious with it early on off the initial drop of the green flag. Oh, so we got another one bouncing off the wall hard, and I think that is Blaine Wilson this time.
It is Blaine Wilson. I can confirm his numbers are in red for me as the 45. We just seen 45 of Dallas Manis wreck. Well, now this 18 here, which is in the 45, just broke his toe link, I think. Yes, he's going to bring it to pit road. So Blaine Wilson here going to get onto pit road here and have to get work done on that car.
Well, fortunate for Cody Reed not to break one, but unfortunate for Blaine Wilson to break. Oh, so we got one spinning up front. I think it's the leader.
Ooh, it's the leader, and there's more wrecking after it. Shaw around here almost, but the 7 here, how did he end up backwards? I wonder if it was a simple mistake or was it some contact that led to this. We'll have to find out here from a replay, but Alex Coffey, our leader, has been solid for the first majority of this race. Now parked backwards into the outside wall. And I tell you, Brandon, I think when the folks see this one here, they're going to be a little awestruck at what exactly happened to this 7 machine, because it just looks like a little bit of a mistake from the 7 side of the realm.
Well, you'll see here on the exit a lot of pressure being applied by the 77 of Rogers. Coffey's just trying to get off the corner really, really well to open up that gap. Steps out just a little bit, and he ends up scuffing the fence. Well, as he's scuffing the fence, he's trying to collect it to not wreck the car, overshoots the brakes, goes in just a little too hot here. That rear brake bias, around he goes, and it doesn't seem like he's going to have a lot of damage on that car, but man, that is an unfortunate mistake for the 7 here. He's going to have a really steep uphill battle for the rest of this race.
He's going to have to climb that hill, as they would say, for sure, after that huge mistake that brought us back to the yellow. And yeah, I mean, it just shows you, even if you are the fastest driver out there, you're not immune to those mistakes. And that is very mind-blowing. But Gavin Rogers, I think he's got to be saying, well, this is my opportunity now to have the track position up front that I felt like maybe I was just as quick as the 7, but now I have the chance, an opportunity to lead this race and set the pace myself.
Well, you also got to think, Zach, last week, Gavin Rogers, lights out at Richmond, had those internet issues, and that essentially handed the race to Alex Coffey to just dominate after the disconnect from Rogers. Now this has kind of flip-flopped it. While Alex Coffey's still in the race, this has really just handed the race to the 77, as the 7 and the 77 by far the fastest cars right now. It's just going to be a matter of, can Coffey get back up there and avoid issues and try to take this back, or are we going to see it flip-flop from last week where now maybe Gavin Rogers goes out here and runs away with the remainder of this race?
It definitely seems that way with the reversal there, but you can see on our screens, we got the double cams going here once again as the drivers are getting the crust out of their eyes, getting a little bit of drinking on some water, getting hydrated, and trying to get ready for this next restart there. So you got Steven Stepien in the bottom left corner, and to the bottom right, it's Johnny Shade, the winner from Atlanta, there in that bottom right corner, looking to get ready, and we'll see how they work out this restart here. Stepien's on the front row and Johnny Shade back here in 13.
I gotta say, I'm a big fan of Johnny Shade's paint scheme here. A little Furniture Road throwback. I approve of that greatly, but Steven Stepien looking to take advantage of this as they're getting ready to go green. See if he can time this restart to perfection.
We'll have to see how well he can do here, but it's going to be Adam Buzzio in third, the driver looking to get the next run, and it's green, and Buzzio takes advantage of it. He's going to clear the 81 here down into one, but the 81 of Steven Stepien drives it in deep on the outside and tries to fight back here on the 5 as the battle for second is on. The leader, Rogers, taking off. It's really the group from the 5th position on back. Everybody stacked up looking for spots.
Well, and Stepien, he overdrove 3 and 4 just a little bit, but was able to somehow get the better drive out of the corner to retake second. Now back to single file for the front 3 as they're battling for 4th on back.
They're battling it up. Here's Carl Puller. He's making an aggressive move in the 71 here. He's trying to get himself up into the top 5 right now as he's got the 2 of Borbell directly on the outside of his outside here and trying to hold that position is that 2 machine. But the 70 or the 71 has the 51 behind him. His teammate Ashal, who's now going to dive to his outside here and maybe even put the 71 in more jeopardy of going backwards.
Well, that's not something you ever want to see. You don't want to go through the center of a corner at a short track getting jacked up by your teammate there. He's trying to be nice and steady, but these guys are battling extremely hard. Dakota Camper not far behind them.
Using tire that they have, it's all over the places. Look, this 51 almost stood a back bumper of the 2, and that's going to let Carl Puller make the pass, but he is on edge, sliding there coming off of 4, and his tires are definitely going to be feeling the brunt of what he just did to that. Is now Camper here trying to follow through.
Oh no,
to the 8th position, they wreck! Oh my goodness gracious, as it just happened right in front of our eyes. And just like that, Camper goes up to the 6th position as the 51 and the 2 come to blows down the back straightaway.
You saw just missing it. Alex Coffey making a charge, now back up inside our top 10.
Crazy to say Alex Coffey's already up to 7th for the 7 machine as he started at the rear of the field after that latest incident. But this latest one just seemed like 2 drivers going for same real estate as the 51, maybe squeezing that 2 into the wall just a little bit to bring out that yellow. As this second stage, it's been a little bit more caution filled.
Yeah, it looked like that first stage, guys were really just kind of searching around, feeling the cars out, getting a good gauge of what their pace and grip level was, and it seems like now they're trying to put it to use because they're really leaning on each other now and taking a lot more chances with moves into the corners and, as you saw there, even down the straightaway.
Everybody looking to make moves for sure here, Brandon, and sometimes those moves can end up being ones that are detrimental to your day because it just goes the wrong way. And right now, people took advantage of it. I mean, look at the 8 machine here at Kubinek, the 71 of Carl Puller. Some of these mistakes these drivers have made have pushed these 2 into the top 5 here, even Camper up the 6. So this is going to be fun to see, man, how this plays out for the rest of the stage because we got to get to 120 still. But with these short little bursts for runs, it's making all these drivers have to be that much more aggressive.
Yeah, it's you just get in that mindset that, man, we're not getting long runs, so I've got to get what I can get here on these restarts because I can't rely on the fact of pacing myself and having the tires and the speed come back to me when we're getting all these cautions. And unfortunately, that just breeds more of them with guys pushing so hard for every little bit on these restarts. That's
what leads to the good old saying of cautions breed cautions, folks. Is It is definitely a scientific fact. It's proven that when you get a couple cautions back to back, the patience level just dips away that much more quickly. Is still got 2 laps to go before we go green here. Gavin Rogers leading the way. Steven Stippian in 81 here in second. Adam Buzzio going to restart in third again. And that last restart, he challenged that 81. If he can get a little bit better 1 and 2, he should have a chance to get up to that second position if you're Adam Buzzio.
And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for one of these guys to figure out the timing of these restarts. It seems like the leaders had such an advantage, even with the short window that they have before the green naturally would come out, that nobody's really challenged the leader on the restart so far. It seems like the first 3 always seem to get single filed out here, but I'm going to be looking on this restart, Zach, to see if somebody finally is managing to match that restart time.
Time in the restarts is so hard to do, especially when you're on the outside like this. Steven Stippian's going to try his best here to get the best restart possible and time it with the 77, but just like that, the 77 gets a decent enough restart. The 81, though, much better than his last one. He should be able to clear the 5 here down to 1, and he does. As right now, it's the gaggle from back on from 4th position there with Kubanek. But right now, it's Camper trying to go around the outside as he's got the 45. Man is here, but the 71 gets moved up out the way and up into the 43, who are fighting for playoffs, and they're going to get knocked well back into the mix.
Well, and unfortunately, Alex Coffey trying to get to the front there, not really showing a lot of patience, and big loser in that was Dakota Camper, getting shuffled back again. Gonna have to work his way back up to the front and try to hang on.
Big moment there for sure as the 7's got around Carl Pooler, but yeah, just a little bit of impatience and just made a little surprise with how the speed difference was there entering the corner, and the 7 machine into the back of the 71 and moving that driver out the way. That really hurt Dakota Camper for sure. But now look at the 7. He's already fighting back to the inside here to get to the 4th position, and the 7 making stuff happen quick, but they're wrecking on the front straightaway. It's Jamie Plord around backwards in turn number 1. And man, this second stage has been caution filled with drivers having mistakes around every single one of the bends.
That's a tough one as well for Jamie Plord in the 33. Man, these guys, they're trying to get absolutely everything they can out of these cars here. The mistakes are really ramping up, as well as just the contact, these guys leaning on each other.
We'll get the instant replay queued up for you folks out there to see what happened to this 33 of Jamie Plord. I mean, tough exit off of 4 for him here, and you're going to be coming up out of the exit of the corner. The car's stepping out sideways right there. He's trying to catch it all the way off the corner, and just right here into the wall. The 2 of Warbell, nowhere to go, Brandon. That's going to spin him completely around and back it into the wall here. Is just a simple mistake, and there's a huge bump off the exit of 4 that 20 or the 33 hit. That could have really led to that condition right there, and just not being able to save it.
Yeah, it's such a huge combination of the way that the track is, the elevation change of the track, plus the bumps on top of that, just lightening up the rear end of the car while you're trying to put the power down out of turn 4. And that's traditionally where you will see guys have problems with losing the car, is that exit at turn 4 for those exact reasons. Because you come over a little bit of a crest to go down the front stretch, it's downhill. And it doesn't really look like it. You can't tell looking at from the grandstands or from our camera angles here, but when you're in the car, you can see that slope down, and it just lightens it up so much that, especially early on in the run on colder tires, it gets incredibly loose, and you will see guys just that snap overcorrect. And you only have 2 options in that situation. You can try to drive out of it, which is what we used to be able to do. But with these next-gen cars, it likes to snap just like that. So your real option is you just lift. But unfortunately, when you lift, you end up having to give up a position to make sure you don't wreck your car.
And also, that lift can lead to a checkup that someone runs it behind you. It's a tough situation either way to be if you're one of the drivers having that issue. And unfortunately for Plord, he goes around there, and it's brought out the 7th caution of the night, 6-1-4 incident. And this is going to be somewhat of a shootout here to get to 120. And Alex Coffey up to the 4th position. We know he takes no prisoners trying to come through the field. This 7 could make this one exciting.
Well, he wasted no time getting back to the front. It took 15 laps maybe, and he's already back up here inside of our top 10 battling, or inside the top 5 even, for the 7. So we're going to see what he can do on this restart here. He may be back to the lead sooner than we think.
He very well might be. Is it on the back straightaway, getting ready for our next restart. Gavin Rogers leading the way. The 81 is Steven Stippian here in the 2nd position. 3rd is Adam Buzzio. As we ride on board with Buzzio, the pace car pulls off, and green flag is back out, and we're off and away.
Now Stippian not getting the greatest of restarts here, opening the door for Buzzio, but that outside on the restart, just that extra momentum, it has prevailed as yet again. Top 3 single file, top 4 now. Coffey looking to the inside of Buzzio, and Buzzio says, you know what, man, you go right on ahead and go battle with these guys.
Big maneuver there from the 7 machine to get up to 3rd. That will allow him to have an opportunity here before the end of the stage to try to better that position and maybe get back to where he was. But right now, we're seeing the 71 Carl Pooler here battle with the 57 of Christian DeRoches. This is for the 7th position, and DeRoches way up the racetrack, and all the wrecking is Michael G. and Stephen Borbell in the 2 machine, who just loops it off a 4. And right now, 4 is becoming a menace of a corner for these guys.
Looks like yet again the looseness strikes, and Borbell got into the last car to do it, and unfortunately he's the one to cause this.
Unfortunate scenes here for the 2 machine is turn number 4. It is just starting to take victim of a few of these drivers out here, and like you said, Brandon, I feel like that's the one corner that you really can lose the rear end when it comes to this next gen car.
I mean, the 2 parts of the track you pay attention to most, the entry to 1 and the exit of 4, because with the front stretch being downhill, it lightens it up coming out of 4 like I talked about, but it also makes it super easy to get in to turn 1 a little bit with too much speed and burn up your right front there. And again, this is the 2nd time that we've seen that exit of turn 4 just catch somebody a little bit unaware.
Here is the instant replay from the onboard cam of Stephen Borbell. You can see it just, I mean, it was immediate. It was not much time to notice it was happening. He just tries to save it. And with that right turn in the wheel like that, that's what makes the car just go directly right like that when the front tires do finally grip up. And man, that is right in front of Ryan Harrison. And Harrison, unfortunately, caught up in that incident. Nowhere to go for that 13 machine.
And then you see Johnny Shade able to slink by there. So all in all, not a lot of issues for too many drivers on the track here. Pretty much just 1 or 2 guys. Not really a significant amount of damage either way, but a loss of track position all the same.
Loss of track position is huge for these drivers who we've heard it's been tough to pass from Alex Coffey. Well, I think he's contradicting that statement, though, a little bit, Brandon, because he was literally dead last at one point about 2-3 restarts ago. Now he's restarting 3rd. He'll restart right behind Gavin Rogers, and I think that's going to make this restart that much more interesting.
100%, and they were saying over the radio, Alex, well, that didn't take long, and he had fresher tires, but to his point, he says, well, I only had 2-lap fresher tires, so it wasn't that significant of an advantage. Alex Coffey's just got this place figured out, and he's managed to avoid a few incidents on his way, but right back up here in position to try to get back to the lead. And like you said, Zach, I think if anybody's going to figure out the timing of these restarts and maybe be able to contend from 3rd place, I think it's going to be Coffey. And we're going to see exactly how well of a restart he can get. But if he gets a good one, I look for him to be making a move on the 77 pretty quickly.
The speed was there for that 7 machine. He got into that 3rd position on that last restart, and he ran his fastest lap at 18.392. That's faster than any lap that was turned by him in practice, any lap he ran in qualifying. So the 7 machine, he's got tons and tons of speed. How well will he be able to use it, though, here on this restart? Because we're going to have a battle here with 4 laps just remaining in stage number 2, with Gavin Rogers out front leading the field here at the Wicked Racing League here at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the regular season finale of 200 laps here as the pace car pulls left. It was Steven Stipien trying to time the restart, but had the lift early, but the green flag's out and Rogers off and away, but the 7 here fighting on the bottom. He's all over the back of the 77 here off of 2.
Well, right there, and he looks to make the move. Oh, and he gets into him. Everybody's wrecking at the front.
Oh no, and that led to a huge calamity there as the 7 looking to make the move. Just got into the back of the 77, and right there, that was a wild wreck there, as I believe that ends our stage, I believe. And I think that's going to give Dallas Manis the stage win here, Brandon.
I mean, you take him how you can get him. Good fortune for Dallas Manis being in the right spot to avoid all that, but I mean, you guys saw it live. Looked like to me just Coffee trying to maybe fake a move to the inside and didn't really take the bait for the 77, and it just kind of shoved him out of the way, and unfortunately that killed a lot of good cars at the front.
Big calamity. I mean, Steven Stipien involved. He got required damage from all of it, and you know, we know Coffee is aggressive, but I think that was too aggressive there, Brandon. Like, you got the fresher tires. We know you want to go for the stage victory, but to take out yourself and other drivers, just going for a move that probably was not going to work with how late he stuck his nose out there, that is a risky maneuver. But I'm telling you, we've seen the 77 and the 7 battle before, and it's no surprise to see some of the incidents between those two.
Well, I'm sure, Zach, we're going to see it here before this race is over. If these guys were racing each other hard, it's going to be even harder now, because there's no love lost on that one. There's some frustration going to be showing, like you said, a little bit unnecessary aggression this early in the race.
Very interesting to play out there, but we don't know who won the stage because of the timing of that. So we're going to go ahead and hit our first commercial break of the night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's been a wild and rocky ending here to the regular season, but we still have 80 laps to close it out for you folks here in North Wilkesboro. Been the Wicked Racing League here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're going to go side by side. You won't miss a thing, and we'll be back in a few.
Wanted the best, you got him for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
He's following, they're wrecking, they're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the 00.
They're 5 wide behind for fifth. Oh my. 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through out of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, they're wrecking contact. Sets gets into the wall, gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron, drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside, trying to get the win, and it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
The wall. The 18 trying to block. 77 gets into the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 to Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is going to steal the win here.
He went second fiddle so many times last season. Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200.
think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races, and I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
And we're back here with the Wicked Racing League for the regular season finale here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I'm Zach Hall. Joined alongside me is Brandon Colley. And we're getting ready to go and finish out the final 70 laps of tonight's event. As the green flag is out and away, it's Dakota Camper leading the field with Gregory Shaw in second, Cody Reed third, Dallas Manis fourth, and Christian DeRoche in the fifth position, as it's been all shuffled up with that stage-ending wreck there, the end stage 2.
Well, it's really shuffled up the front. Here's a ooze. Looks like a little bit of 3-wide action there briefly, but Manis decides to roll on out of it. Now you've got Shaw and Reed door to door trying to solidify that second place and see if any of them can go down and run down the 43 of Dakota Camper, who's really had like the absolute just range of emotions this race. He has been from the back to the front. I don't know how many times so far in the race. It's not even close to done.
The range of emotions do have to be wild for that 43 team, as they're looking to make themselves move on into that playoffs there. And you can see there's the 7 machine Alex Coffey diving his way up the inside of the 5 there. Adam Buzzio. They also got Christian DeRoche there in the 57. He's just got passed by Gavin Rogers, who the 71, a Pooler, just has a moment. He goes way up the racetrack. That's going to let DeRoche's and Rogers by, but now here comes the 7 diving in 3 wide, and the 7, no lack of aggression from this driver.
Absolutely not. If there's a gap, he is going for it, taking no prisoners here today. You'd think that he was in a must-win position out here for the 7 tonight.
It definitely could seem that way for sure there, Brandon, is right now Rogers, he's closing up in on this group here. He's trying to get through them as quick as possible because he knows the battle between him and Alex Coffey, it looms at some point for sure. As right here, it's Borbell and the 40 in the 2 machine with the 47 and Johnny Shade on the outside, fighting strong between these two, back in around the top 10 positions here for around 11th.
A pretty decent racing going on here. A lot of guys struggling with the car at the moment. There is a mix of strategy here. Some guys, ooh, Johnny Shade almost gets to the back of Carl Pooler. Carl is struggling mightily with that 71 here. He just cannot get a handle on it.
Pooler is definitely having a tough time making speed right now. It seems like His car just quickly going away here as he's luckily able to solidify that position and get single file almost into the back of the 8 machine. That opens up the door for the 2. And right here now, Borbell's going to have a chance, but he's getting loose on the exit. He's going to hit the grass. And this is tough. He's got to slowly bring it up on the surface. Great save from the 2 machine.
A lot of handling issues here going on. And like I was saying, there was a mix of strategy during the stage. Some guys elected to stay out, it looked like. And the first one being Dakota Camper, our current leader. But some guys just not having a good handle on the car right now, as we're seeing Johnny Shade lock up in front of Steven Stimpian here.
Everybody having little small mistakes that are making stuff get acquired very quickly. As almost into the back of the 47 is the 81. As you can see, the 57 slow up ahead of him. That was a wild moment from the roof cam here. And now the 57, he sees what's in front of him. The 81 is Stimpy, and he goes up the racetrack. And these drivers all back here just trying to hold on to their race cars.
And great awareness there, there from the 81, the 55, absolutely full send into the bottom of 3 and 4 last time. Caught a little bit of the curb, and Stimp had to jump way up the track here, but able to hold on to it and get a great run. Now he's all over the back of Johnny Shade trying to get that pass made as he's fighting back from that stage-ending caution.
Everybody trying to fight back here for sure, and we'll see the cams here because guess what? These are the drivers that are battling. We get to see Shade directly in front of Stimpian, and this will give us a cool little insight of our battle cam, I guess you could say it here.
Now Stimpian locked in as always, and Johnny Shade a little bit more focus on his face than I'm used to seeing. He's normally the having a good time guy, but he's getting on it here tonight. He's having a pretty good night for himself in the 47.
He is having a fantastic night, and you know what? He is going to go on to the playoffs here starting next week at Charlotte. With that win in Atlanta, this just made tonight here in North Wilkesboro that much more of a cakewalk for this 47 team. And Stimpy was able to get by Johnny Shade and make his way forward. We are starting to see some movement happen, I tell you. We got Cody Reed closing in, our leader, Dakota Camper up front. You got Gregory Shaw starting to fall into the clutches of Gavin Rogers, and also Alex Coffey and Rogers getting close to each other. This actually continues here. It's the 55 of Michael Giamatti. Gets a little contact to the back bumper of the 47. He goes around him. Now the 2 of Borbell, he's going to try to follow him through.
Well, guys, absolutely sending it now. If there's a gap on the bottom of the racetrack, if you do not cover that off, somebody's going to put their nose in there.
Everybody trying to make stuff happen here, Brandon, and I think drivers lost patience here as the middle portion of this race. And you know, I tell you, this race has been wild so far, but we got some wild stuff coming up here in the future at Freaky Fast Broadcasting that I could not wait for people to get more knowledge about. And we'll go ahead and we'll show you what we got here in store, folks, as we're going to be running the Gamers Outreach 600 presented here by Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For charity stuff set up, but we're working with Gamers Outreach this time for our charity race, and it'll be in June, and you guys are not going to miss out. It's going to be the Gen 4 cars at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we're going to have a fantastic time there for 600 miles here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, raising awareness and helping children out there across America.
I know I, for one, Zach, can't wait. I'm going to be taking part in that event. Never done a 600, and just finishing it's going to be a win in itself. So hopefully we get a lot of people to come out and take part in that event.
It would be fantastic, Brandon, for sure having as many people as possible out there in our event, and we cannot wait to bring you more details on that. I believe next Sunday we're going to be getting a lot more stuff coming out about that event. So it's going to be a fun time, but we cannot wait to get that back going, because raising money and doing charity races are what we love. I believe we may have an issue here, folks, as we have lost connection to the server, so we'll have to be right back here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. All right, we're back here, folks. Sorry about that. A little bit of technical difficulties in the background here. And we're back in the server and ready to show you what's going on as we're looking at this battle here, heating up for the lead. This is Cody Reed leading the way in the Hot Wheels machine. Now you can see that throwback scheme of Gavin Rogers there. He's closing himself up, and also the 7 machine Alex Coffey. It's starting to heat up here for our top 3 battle.
And you see there, Cody Reed, he is trying his best to defend, but just a little bit too much through the center. 3 and 4 opened up the door briefly for the 77. Looks like Gavin Rogers is going to try a little bit of a crossover here. Ooh, loses the rear end, not able to get the nose inside of the 25, so he holds station as it stands right now, and Alex Coffey lurking in the background, waiting for his moment.
That Alex Coffey is lurking here, and gonna have to watch out for the 7 machine. He's been aggressive all night. If he gets opportunity, we know he's gonna be willing to take that opportunity. And right now, Rogers here running that bottom groove. He's got to close back up the read because it is tough to pass, but he's just got to work them over. That's the key to it. You cannot let someone hold you up for too long. You got to be able to work them over slowly each and every lap, and you'll be able to get that pass done. But the bottom side just hasn't been provided. As you can see, Gregor Shaw, he's pitting out of pit road. This has created a little bit of stack up here with Camper here, as he's got the 45 right behind him with Dallas Manis.
Well, Camper holding on surprisingly well with his tire differential compared to these guys. Just shy of 15 laps difference of tires between Camper and pretty much the rest of the field, especially these guys up here at the front. So for Camper to be holding on to 5th position as it stands is pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive indeed. With the 45 into the back bumper of that 43. Very close action between these two on the racing surface, and that's definitely making things very, very interesting for Camper, who doesn't need to lose too many points here. But look at this battle. It's the 7 and the 77. They just love to stick the 777s beside each other because they have always just had that magnet. I feel like when they race each other, or they just attract to each other during the race. And right now, the 7 trying to get around the 77, who has had trouble. He gets the bump from the 7 here, and man, if we get that 77 close to the bumper of the 7, we may see a bumper given from him, and this is what Cody Reed loves to see, the 2 drivers behind him fighting it out.
Well, I thought 777s was supposed to be lucky, but look at that. He didn't appreciate that one bit. Tit for tat. Oh! He's going to give it right back to him, but then the 7's going to lose it. Gregory Schall's going to make some contact here.
Oh, man, this is just going from bad to ugly here up front, folks. And the 7 of Coffey here spun around after him and Gavin Rogers getting into it. We already seen those two have an incident earlier in the stage 2. Right there, the 7 moves the 77 out the way. The 7 did not like that one bit at all, Brandon, and I think the 77 didn't like that one bit at all, and the 7 didn't like what he did to him. He swiped back at him, and it actually ended up wrecking the 7. So that is wild scenes here at North Wilkesboro. As into the regular season, the tempers are starting to flare before we get to playoffs.
Well, I mean, if you're going to give it, you got to be able to take it. I mean, if you're willing to bump somebody out of the way, do not be surprised if the first chance they get, they're going to give it right back to you, and makes for exciting racing.
That it really does. It builds the rivalries, and I tell you, those two, they've had the biggest of rivalry here in this league, and it continues on as Coffey gets to his pit box. Cody Reed wins the race off of pit road, but it's going to be the 7 having to be aggressive once again, making his way through the field, and he's not going to have a lot of time here, Brandon. This is not setting up well if you are that 7 team.
Well, getting some radio chatter here, it's going to turn out that because of that incident, the 77 of Gavin Rogers getting an EOL. So that goes 77 down to the back with Alex Coffey. Adam Buzzio going to cycle up here to the 2nd position for this restart. This is not over, I feel like.
It is definitely not over with that call. It's going to put those two together like 2 peas in a pod back in the back of the field. And we're going to get some tempers flared between these two, I'd imagine. So if that is the call that it gets made there, we'll have to see, because it has not been handed down yet, that EOL penalty. But we'll have to see, does Rogers get it there, as they will. If they do, that'll deem him at fault for that yellow, and it will be one that drivers will be talking about for sure. And there it is, 77 hit with the EOL, and Rogers is going to have to go to the rear of the field, while the rest of these drivers stack up. And this is opening up the door here, Brandon. Adam Buzzio up to second here in the 5, the 25 of Reed. He's already got to win this season. Camper's in 3rd, Manis in 4th, and Pooler in 6th. Those drivers in 4th and 6th are Dakota Camper's biggest fear, I feel like, for making these playoffs, because, man, if one of those two go out and win, Camper's going to be knocked out.
Yeah, Camper now has got to be really looking in the mirror and just, despite the fact that he's got a chance to win here, he's got to make sure that he's able to keep the 71 behind him. He's got to keep Shaw behind him. He's got to just run a solid race. And now the tires are even. And he held on great with those older tires before. He's in a much better shot here. We'll have to see what he can do with this restart.
Man, oh man, this is going to be fun here, folks. 2 of our fastest drivers all night in the back of the field. Up front, we got playoff contention all around, and it's green flag, and we're backing away. Here's Cody Reed, leads us down the 1. And it's going to be Adam Buzzio in 2nd, Dakota Camper in 3rd, and Camper and Buzzio, they came to blows at Richmond last week. Even Steven Stippian, he's up to 4th now, diving to the inside of 3rd.
Now Stippian looking to take advantage big time of the shenanigans between our 2 faster drivers and try to get up here and put himself in position and maybe snag this one away. I know Adam Buzzio, he's feeling pretty good about the position he's in here. Ooh, it's tight racing for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. And you see Carl Pooler just in the background here on the outside of Stephen Borbell, trying to gain just whatever he can.
Alex Coffey already somehow fighting his way into the top 10 positions. He's up to 8th here and quickly trying to make stuff happen, but he's got contact between him and Borbell. That checks him up farther back in the field and brings him and Gavin Rogers that much more close together. But you can see Steven Stippian up to 3rd. Hasn't won all season. This could be the regular season race for him, but we got a car wrecking in the back of the field, and the caution's going to come out as the 47 of Johnny Shade goes around on the front straightaway. And just like that, we're back to under yellow, and this is what Cody Reed loves to see, in my opinion, out front, Brandon. He wants to see these yellow flags fly because this lets him control the restarts and everything that much better.
Yeah, this is definitely setting up to be a crazy finish to this race. And I've also got to point out, we didn't manage to catch it, but just as the caution was coming out, Alex Coffey spinning himself around and backing it into the wall. So maybe a little bit of damage for the 7 here as he's trying to get back up to the front.
Yeah, he did that after the yellow came out and just got into the corner a little bit too hot for himself. And luckily for him, that caution came out because that allowed him to get back up in position. But what that was to bring out that yellow was Christian DeRoches. He got loose off of 4, folks. And right there, Johnny Shade had nowhere to go, and the incident happened. So it was tough for him to do that, as we got cars unlapping themselves here, getting their laps back, Brandon, and we're going to see, I think, a wild one here, man. This, just the way this race has been going, I think this sets up for somebody to make some risky maneuver that could lead to another incident.
100%. I mean, this is not going to be the last caution we see. I don't even think it's going to be second to last caution we see. These guys are going to start taking more and more advantage of any little bit of daylight they see to get around somebody, and that's, people are going to end up getting junked because of it. They've been aggressive since the start of stage 2, and it's only gotten more and more so. I mean, we saw what happened with the 7 and the 77 throughout the race so far since the end of stage 2. There's a lot of guys up here that are going to start getting desperate. I mean, especially if you're Dakota Camper trying to get up here. Dallas Manis, who is looking to steal this one and get himself into the playoffs. He's in 5th place right now. He's got a legitimate shot of getting up here and stealing this one away. I can't wait to see how this one ends.
And you got the guy who he would steal it away from right in front of him, Dakota Camper. So, whew. And then Carl Pooler even behind in 6th. He's got a chance here if he goes and gets the victory. All of this has been opened up by this wild scene we've seen here from some of the drivers racing up near the front of the field with some contact. It's been a contact sport, as they would say here tonight, Brandon.
Contact everywhere. I'm really excited. I don't think the The fireworks between the 7 and the 77 are over, so I'm going to be keeping my eye out for those two getting close together on track here and seeing what comes of that as well.
Alex Coffey also got to remember, had that big slide there after the caution and kind of hit the wall. Will his car be the same? Will his tires be in the same status? Also, Cody Reed and Steven Stipien, those two work together. They're restart on the bottom. Can Stipien try to get himself up into the top 2 positions on this restart? We'll have to see here, folks, as 20 laps to go, coming to 19 to go when we take the green. It's going to be any man's game up here as the pace car takes the left-hand turn, and Cody Reed off and away, and he gets a heck of a restart there, Brandon, because he pulls away from even the 81 Stipien. So Stipien now having a tough time as the 5 is going to clear for second.
Well, if that was a communicated restart between teammates, it wasn't communicated to a T there, as the 81 Stipien not able to take advantage and get to the inside of the 5 of Adam Buzzio. As Buzzio now setting himself up here, trying to find a great line to run down the gap that Cody Reed has been able to pull out, as they got some serious battle going on here in the back as these guys are dicing it out. Coffee running 6th position to see him here, trying to find his way around Manis to get back up into 4th.
Battle between the teammates, the 7 and the 45, battling it up, and even the battle for seconds going on. And again, the caution comes out in the speedway. It's Gregory Shaw in the 51 around here in the entry of 1. And man, oh man, this is turning into a little bit of a yellow fest here at the end. These drivers having a tough time staying out of each other.
Well, I think this one might have been brewing for a little while, Zach, and it's not just the 7 and the 77 having some tempers here tonight.
And it seems that way, Brandon. It's a tough incident that we have, as we're going to try to get that for replay for you folks. I think this one may have led to a little bit of frustration being taken out, and unfortunately Gregory Shaw, he is the brute of that frustration there for this 18 of Blaine Wilson. And it'll be the 45 on screen, but it is Blaine Wilson. I can't confirm in the 18, folks. So we'll get to see that one, because man, I don't like calling wrecks intentional, Brandon, but this one definitely had a message sent across with it.
Yeah, message sent and delivered, as you're seeing here. Just sent him into the corner, and even still on the throttle here, making sure that that one stuck. And there was a little bit of chatter. I missed exactly what may have preceded this, but I heard somebody say something to Gregory over the radio, and they're not the first ones this race, as Gregory's been getting his elbows out pretty much since the drop of the green flag to start this race. So, yeah, I mean, I think he understood what the problem was in that one.
I have to see how that works out for the rest of this race, because right now, coming to 14 laps to go, as Shaw gets caught back up to the field. Also Alex Coffey, he's been making a tear through the field. He's up to 5th already for that 7 machine, and that's going to be huge for him, because man, like, he's going to have a shot here for this win, and we know how aggressive he's been.
Yeah, we've got so many guys up here that are chomping at the bit, looking for any little mistake or bobble to take advantage of here, and the laps are winding down. These cautions, you're running out of time with every single caution we get. So no prisoners going to be taken from any of these guys at the front, just hoping for their opportunity to come out here and get this win.
Opportunities awry here for a lot of drivers, and I'm going to be interested to see what does the 81 of Steven Stipien do here. How aggressive does he get? If he clears for that 2nd position, does he use the front bumper on the 25 if he gets the opportunity? I mean, at this point, I think it's everybody versus everybody here, Brandon, and we could see the gloves being thrown off.
Absolutely. I mean, I know their teammates up at the front, and they're going to be willing to work with each other a little bit more than anybody else. But I know how frustrated Stipien has been here lately, just trying to shake the monkey off his back and get back to his winning ways here. We'll see how aggressive he decides to get, to see if he can get that taken care of here tonight.
Have to see as they're coming to the restart zone. Cody Reed leading the way. Pace car still out in front. Now pulling down to the inside, and Reed's off and away, and a great start from the 81 of Steven Stipien. He almost stays to the inside, but they're already wrecking farther back in the field, as it is a calamity wreck here off of the exit of 4, and it was the 57 of Christian DeRoches there having some issues getting up to speed. And man, oh man, this right here, Brandon, is getting a little bit ugly here at North Wilkesboro as we're heading into another yellow.
Well, seems like a classic case of wheel spin on the restarts, and catching a handful of guys involved in that one. Blaine Wilson, Richard Wolsifer getting collected as well. And I think that may be the last opportunity the 57 has to bring out a yellow. Waiting for something from race control here, but there was a bit of question as to somebody having to park it.
We'll have to see what the decision is based on there, but man, that restart there, I think this helps Cody Reed a ton. This has got to make him feel pretty good about the situation here, having control of the restart. But last time, Steven Stippian, he was on it there, Brandon.
Oh, he absolutely was, and you're completely right. I mean, every time that there's been a restart, the leader has been able to get a pretty significant gap, and it takes a number of laps for guys, the guy that winds up in second, to get back to the front, get back to his bumper to even contend for that position. So the more cautions we have, Cody Reed's feeling really good if he can nail the restart, but Steven Stippian, that's the best restart he's had all night.
It really, really is, and with Steven Stippian up near the front of the field, while we're here at and still have 2 to go here, let's have a quick chat with him up here in the booth about what he feels like he can do here on these restarts. Hey, Steven, it's Zach and Brandon up in the booth. How you feeling, man, here restarting second?
Feeling all right, man. Yeah, a little frustrated with what happened earlier. I was running a pretty good race first half of the race, but I don't know. I just gotta time my restarts, and I'm pretty good on the outside on the restart, so we'll see. I'm hoping I can get that first win. We'll see. But I don't know, these cautions, the way it's trending right now, I don't think I'm gonna have much of a chance. So we'll see.
Well, Stippian, we saw you have to come from the back to the front. Is there anything you think you learned in doing that maybe if you get a shot to get close to the 25 that you can put to use to snag this win?
Not at all. I was pushing way too hard when I was back there, so I didn't learn anything. Just hope I can get it to stick on the outside in one of the corners here on the restarts and, clear them. We'll see. Hopefully put on a good show. Hopefully get a few laps here. Green flag rings.
We hope so too, Steven. Best of luck to you, buddy. 1 to green here. We'll let you get back down to your team.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so head back down to the Smoke Inc. room there as those drivers are getting ready to battle, and the front 2 and the top 2 here in the same Discord chats. That's always an interesting time to have when you're coming down to the end of these races. They usually get pretty quiet between the 2 drivers battling it out here. But Steven Stippian looking to time it well. Cody Reed looking to get a second win though here this season, and Stippian there almost timing it perfectly. Had to lift a little bit, but he should be clear of the 45 here into 1. And right now, Cody Reed trying to run away with 5 to go.
Well, Stimp's got some time to work with here, but not a whole lot. Trying to find a good line. Arc's a little bit more into the corner than the 25. 25 misses the bottom on the exit just a little bit, but still carrying a really good run out. As the front 3 single file yet again. Alex Coffey to the inside of Buzzio back there for the 4th position, and just behind them, Gavin Rogers in the 77.
Everybody fighting for spots here. It's coming to 3 to go. Reed up the racetrack one more time. It allows Stippian to close in that much more. He goes high here on the entry. What will he have here to implore on the 25? Will the bumper have to be in use? Because the 45 of Manis, remember, he's in 3rd. If he can win this race, he can lock himself in.
Stippian running a little bit better, but gonna push wide on the exit. Able to carry the speed pretty well. Stay right there within range of the 25.
We'll have to see here. 2 laps to go. Only 2 of them left here in North Wilkesboro. Stippian here all over the back bumper of the 25. Reed up the racetrack, and it's opened up the door here as they come side by side off of 4. It's your freaky fast. White flag, 1 to go here at Wilkesboro, and Steven Stippian diving to the inside. Almost contact between the 2 as they race off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Steven Stippian looking for that first win. He's going to have an opportunity, and down here in the 1, he gets the bump from the 45, and off of 4, the 81 will win. Steven Stippian in the winner book as he holds off Reed with Manis in 3rd.
Textbook from Steven Stimpy in there, dove it into the corner just hard enough that it didn't allow Reed to get the good run off the corner, had to also walk it up the racetrack, opened him up for perfect position into turn 3 to just edge out the 25 there, and a valiant effort from Manis there, trying to send it in and make something happen in that last corner.
What a job. The bumps coming from the drivers here, giving the thank you to Steven Stimpy and the congratulations as he's getting all the love here on the front straightaway. It's the 81 winning his first race of the season here, and that's got to feel excellent, man. This is the perfect timing right before we head into the playoffs. This 81's been close many times before, and he got the job done here as he's going to look to celebrate here on the front straightaway at North Wilkesboro Speedway and get himself all prepared for our interviews, because we got our top 2 drivers coming up here and a spotlight driver, and then we will have a chat with them. We'll be back here in the next few moments as Steven Stimpy burns it down here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. And we are back here, folks, for our post-race show here after the regular season finale here at the Wicked Racing League at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. And what a wild one it was. And the winner of tonight's race, the 81 of Steven Stippian, coming from the back to the front. He gets it done here at North Wilkesboro. Let's hear from the 81 himself. Hey, Steven Stippian, you got a copy?
Zachary, I do.
Well, buddy, you got the victory. You got it done. We talked to you right before that final restart. You figured out the way to make it happen. Take us through it, man, because that was a heck of a move.
Man, I just noticed Cody was getting tight in 3 and 4. He couldn't really stick the bottom, so I knew if I could back it up just a little bit, stick the bottom, get that thing to wrap, and I think I'd have a pretty good shot past him. And sure enough, it worked. You know, he kind of took it in a little bit harder on 3 and 4 and was able to get around him. Hell of a shot by Dallas there going into 3 at the last lap. I'm glad I was able to save that and hold on, but I know he was fighting for playoff position, so I can't really blame him there. But just excited, man, finally.
Well, Steven, you can hear how much it means to you. You were already pretty solidly into the playoffs here, but now you get to go into them with a win. It's got to be good for your confidence. How are you feeling now going in to Charlotte next week and then through the rest of the races to see if you can be the champion?
I feel pretty good, you know, nothing like getting some good momentum swinging my way going right into the playoffs. I'll take that all day. Got a couple of good tracks coming up that I'm pretty good at. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Charlotte's a pretty decent track of mine. Michigan's really good for me. Dover's really good for me. So we'll see. You know, we got a good group of fast guys out here. So it's tough to get a win. Obviously, it took me almost the whole season to get a win. But I'm excited, man. I don't know. I just got a knack for these old school racetracks. You know, one at Darlington and North Wilkesboro. It means a lot to me winning here with a kind of a throwback scheme. So I'm happy I was able to get that done.
Definitely a great showing for yourself there, Steven. And, you know, to rewind back to a little bit to this race, I mean, take us through that ending of stage 2, the incident between the 7 and the 77. How did you recover from that and keep your, you know, head on straight to get back to this victory?
You know, I still need to look at the replay. I don't really know who got into who or what happened there. I don't know if you guys know what happened, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. You know, I was on the high line minding my own business, and next thing I know, there's like 50 cars coming at me. So, and I'm spun around. But, you know, I just went a lap down to get damage fixed and, you know, just trying to buy my time. I mean, the way the race was going a little bit, I knew I was going to at least get a lucky dog with the stage coming up and, you know, hopefully get a couple of cautions to get back up there. And sure enough, it happened. I was getting nervous there for a little bit when we had that green flag run after that. After I got my lap back, I think I was stuck in 8th or 9th with Kyle Pooler. Me and him were having a pretty good battle. It's just so tough to pass here. And, you know, well, I'm not a dirty racer by no means, so I was kind of just chilling, I guess. I didn't want to give somebody the bumper and move them. But it was tough. I'm just glad we got that last caution and get back up there in the top 5 spot, and that really helped. And I'm happy, man. I'm thrilled.
Well, man, definitely got to be happy with yourself there after that victory here tonight. But before we let you get out here and go celebrate this thing, anybody want to send a shout out to, Steven?
Obviously, you guys for the broadcast, week in, week out. Obviously, you guys do a fantastic job. Can't wait to go back and watch that later or tomorrow morning while I'm at work. And, you know, hell of a run by Cody. That was, I know he was struggling with this track a little bit tonight, and he didn't feel really good going into the race after practice. So I'm happy that, you know, he pulled away a top 3 finish there, and, you know, it was a hell of a run coming to the end there. I'm glad that he finished and had a good run. We did it clean, nothing, you know, no dirty racing there, so it worked out well. And obviously, my dad out there, love you, Pops, finally got a win, about time. Hopefully, it's a sign of things to come. My lovely wife working, love you, babe. Everybody here at the league, thanks for all the admins. I know me and Adam talk a lot. He's happy that I got that win, and he's coming soon. He'll get one, but I'll talk to you.
That it is, Steven. Well, man, congrats on the win, and we'll catch you next week in the playoffs at Charlotte.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
All right there, folks. That was your race winner here tonight in North Wilkesboro for the 200 laps. Excellent job by Steven Stippian to get that first win of the season here and first win at the Wicked Racing League here to end out the regular season and click his ticket to the playoffs there. But we got the driver in second up next, the 25 of Cody Reed, the winner from Watkins Glen. Let's hear from him after he was close to his second victory. Hey, Cody, it's Brandon, or Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Cody, what a battle coming down to the end, man. It seemed like for majority of the race, you were mired around from the 5th on back to 10th position for a lot of the battling. But then it all opened up there in stage number 2 with the incident in front of you. Take us through all of that and how you were able to keep yourself up front.
Just pure luck, I guess. There wasn't much to it. I got through that wreck with quite a bit of damage. Nothing that lowered my RPM or anything. So I just stayed out for a while. Ended up taking the lead, and then another caution came out. Or no, yeah, another caution came out. We all took tires. I kept the lead. Then Gavin and uh, Alex, right? That's his name, I think. Had their problems, and I just kind of. I really would have think I think I would have had a better chance at winning and keeping the lead had it just gone green and not all those cautions. I think my nerves really ended up killing my chance to win. I was talking to Stympian that whole time, the whole last like 30 whatever laps, and he was just trying to calm me down because I was like freaking out this whole time, and I'm really bad with that. Um, and every single caution that came out, I was just I was like yelling, I just wanted to go green. I mean, I'll take a second place finish, but staying up front was pretty nice. It was a lot better than getting stuck behind cars in the back. You feel like you're faster then, but you can't pass because it's just so hard to pass. Um, yeah, I think that's it.
Well, Cody, you rebounded after an early mistake, managed to get yourself up into a position to win here after showing a lot of speed throughout the entire race, really. You're going into the playoffs, seeded 4th here, got your win already earlier this season. How are you feeling into these playoffs? Is there any track that you have circled that you think, you know what, I can go out here and get my second win and move myself closer to getting that championship?
Honestly, not really. I have all these tracks coming up are just kind of okay tracks for me. No road courses I see, which kind of sucks for me because that's usually where I'm doing pretty good at. Uh, doesn't look like any short tracks either. It's just kind of your cookie cutter ovals, and you have like Darlington and Dover. But who knows? I'll try to get a win or two, try to get in the final 4. I don't know how possible that'll be, but I'm gonna try for it.
Well, Cody, you're definitely going to have the chance, man. You made it to the playoffs with that win at Watkins Glen and the good run you had through all of the season. So congrats on that. And before we let you get out of here and go celebrate your second place finish, anybody want to send a shout out to, man?
Shout out to my like he's not really my teammate, but I guess we're affiliated. Steven Stympian, he won tonight. That was pretty awesome. Wish I maybe would have got it. He got that little bump from Dallas at the very end. I think I couldn't get to his outside because of it. He just got a little bit of a run from that. But good job to him. He was in my ear talking that whole race, calming me down. I probably would have self-spun if it wasn't for him. Um, I'd like to thank you guys for putting this on, and I'd like to thank the admins for putting this league together and everything. So it's a lot of fun, and I'll see you guys.
All righty, Cody. Congrats on second, man, and we'll catch you next week in the playoffs at Charlotte.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was our second place finisher there, Cody Reed. What a night it was for him. They're making his way to the playoffs. Now we're going to talk to our third place finisher and our spotlight driver of the night, Dallas Madison, the 45. He was so close to coming away with the victory with the bump to the back bumper of Steven Stympian and getting his way into the playoffs, but just coming up a little short. Let's hear from our third place finisher. Hey, Dallas, it's Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
How's it going? I got a copy.
Well, man, I tell you what, excellent job getting that third place finish here tonight. Just coming up a little bit short of getting that victory to lock yourself into the playoffs. Take us through those final few moments because we've seen you went for the Hail Mary almost there down in the 3.
Yeah, I was gonna try to give him a shot to push him up into his teammate, but not wreck him, and he just took the hit. I was kind of shocked it didn't move. So then I just tried to get the power back down and try to beat him back to the line, but it just didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be this year.
Well, Dallas, you had a spectacular amount of speed tonight. Ran a really good race, all things considered. You were right there in position to try to make something happen at the end. Do you feel like there's any confidence that you can bring in that even though you're not in the playoffs now, you can go to these next handful of races and try to steal one away from these guys and just kind of put that footnote in that, you know what, I'm not here, but I deserve to be in these playoffs racing with you guys, and I plan to be next season?
Yeah, I'm starting to get confidence. I came from the dirt world, so like I guess last year and a half of running these, still trying to figure out how to save tires, and I feel like I've finally kind of found the happy medium thanks to my teammates Alex and TJ and John Curtis, and then Michigan is like one I have circled for sure because I'm really fast there. That's like one of my favorite tracks. So I feel confident everywhere else that we're going, but Michigan's definitely high up on my list.
Well, Dallas, I think you definitely got to have a lot of confidence after the run here tonight for yourself, man. It's definitely looking bright for these ending races here, even though you're not in the playoffs, to build up that momentum for next season. But congrats on third here tonight. And before we let you get out here, anybody wants to shout out to?
Yeah, I want to shout out for CNC, or my teammates, Esports, CNC Esports, for giving me the chance and bringing me on. Alex, TJ, and John Curtis, because they've helped me out a ton, especially Alex. I'm always kind of down sometimes at tracks, and he's telling me lock it in and get it going, kind of like tonight. I was kind of worried, and he said I had it, so it just works out good. And then a shout out to you guys on the broadcast team. You guys always are awesome, and our sponsors. We had NCI come on board for the team this year and help out with some stuff, so thanks to them.
Well, Dallas, thanks to you, buddy, also for the great racing you put on out there. Congrats on third, and we'll catch you next week at Charlotte.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
All right, folks, that was our spotlight driver there. Third place finisher, Dallas Mance, who just came up short of making his way into the playoffs. As the drivers that came in here tonight, good on points, are the drivers that exit out of here good on points. So what a wild ending to this regular season, and what a great group of drivers we have going into those playoffs. But we're going to go ahead and look at those official race results here, as Steven Stippian was able to get his first victory to close out the regular season in the 81 machine. Second goes to Cody Reed. Third comes for Dallas Mance, as he just comes up short of making the playoffs. Fourth is Alex Coffey. Fifth is going to be Adam Buzzio. Sixth is Gavin Rogers. Seventh is Dakota Campers. He makes his way into the playoffs. Eighth is Carl Pooler. Ninth, Jimmy Kubanek. And rounding out the freaky fast top 10 is Gregory Shaw. And as we look through the rest of the order here, Brandon, what a wild night North Wilkesboro set up for our playoffs coming up next week at Charlotte.
Yeah, you couldn't really ask for a better cutoff race, Zach. Short track racing, a lot on the line, guys getting their elbows out, tempers flaring, and it produced great racing from the drop of the green flag to the drop of the checkered flag. Some guys unfortunately missing out. We talked to Dallas and just a little bit shy, but I think it's a sign of things to come for him. Unfortunately, Carl Pooler did really everything right tonight, but unfortunately just too big of a hole for him. And some guys like Borbell that were in contention, having pretty good runs, missing out on a top 10, but all things considered, a really good race, a really exciting race, and I can't wait to see what these guys are going to bring us next week at the Wicked Racing League. When we go to Charlotte to start their playoffs, I think that's going to be a spectacular race.
That it will be. It's going to be fun to see, and unofficially, the 12 drivers that make it into the playoffs, bearing anything happens from here, is Alex Coffey, Cedric Hunter, Gavin Rogers, Cody Reed, Stephen Borbell, Mason Hossman, Jimmy Kubanek, Johnny Shade, Steven Stippian, Adam Buzzio, Blaine Wilson, and last but not least, Dakota Camper, rounding out our 12 playoff contenders, heading into Charlotte next week, and it's going to be one heck of a show, like Brandon was saying there, as we get things kicked off in pretty much the home of NASCAR there in the Charlotte area. I cannot wait for that action to kick off. But Brandon, before we get to Charlotte, any final thoughts here on North Wilkesboro, and what do you think we can expect from that first playoff race?
Well, I can't really say anything more about Wilkesboro other than what I've already said about how amazing tonight's race was for these guys. It's truly the epitome of what short track racing is. And Charlotte, it's hard to say. I mean, there's so many factors at Charlotte that determine, what kind of race you're going to get. Daytime, nighttime, different track temps. I mean, you just don't know what kind of grip you're going to expect as to, how many lanes are going to develop for these guys. But that's kind of the die for these quote unquote cookie cutter tracks here is Charlotte Motor Speedway. And it's one that everybody has experience with on the oval side of the service. So these guys are all going to have a lot of experience there. And it's kind of going to set the tail of the tape as to where, the strong suit is for these guys in the playoffs. Who are those guys you're going to have to beat to be in contention to come out of this season as the champion?
It's going to be fun to see, and you'll be able to watch it all live here on Freaky Fast, broadcasting live every Wednesday night at 8:50 Eastern. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, so you can be tuned back in with us next Wednesday to see where does the drama continue, because it's playoff drama this time. It's no longer the regular season. Everything matters that much more for pushing yourself on to the next rounds, and it'll be at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But that's not the last the next broadcast we have, because tomorrow night we'll be at Stars and Stripes for their ARCA series as they look to close out their season and get themselves down into the playoffs. And then also on Saturday night we'll have the World Series of Sim Racing, and then back to the ISRC Truck Series and the full Sim Racing Series on Mondays and Tuesday nights. And then we'll be back here on Wednesday with the Wicked Racing League. Thank you all for tuning in here tonight. It's been a pleasure for myself, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley up here in the booth alongside me, and Robert Moyer Jr., our producer. We all want to thank you all for tuning in and being a part of the Freaky Fast family. And as I always say, we'll catch you next time. Stay freaky fast.